This is episode 75 of the SteadyTrade podcast with your hosts, Tim Bowen.
We're going to talk about the weed sector again because it's going nuts literally today.
And Stephen Johnson.
Thanks for the report, Tim. Thanks for the report.
Today, the guys get pretty deep into the psychology and emotions of trading and how to balance all of that against the current market surge in weed stocks. But first, an update on the paper trading challenge, because someone is going home.
This might make the front of the episode because I do watch these back sometimes. I definitely watch the start of them to see the highlights. And I'm going to say the paper trading competition, the market has spoken, and Chris.
Why did you say Chris?
Oh, fuck. Well, that's definitely not going to be the front of the episode.
It might be.
It probably will be now.
Who's it really going to be?
Make like a stock and split. Your rally has ended. Make like a dead cat and bounce. Your order has been canceled. Your stock has dropped. You've been pumped and dumped from this competition.
Listen in to find out.
Bye-bye, boys. Have fun storming the castle.
Welcome back to the SteadyTrade podcast. We've got a fully loaded agenda for you today. We've got a bunch of stuff we want to talk about. If you're just tuning into this episode, you can kind of jump back a little bit. We're going to talk about, Stephen and I interviewed both of our teams the last couple episodes. We've got an update. We've got an announcement of the first, we still need a tagline. We still need a "you're fired" or whatever they say on Survivor. We need a tagline. We're going to ask you about that. But we've got the announcement of the first trader that will be margin called and leave the island or the trading floor, I guess. I'm desperate with these.
Yeah. Thanks, Tim. It's been a great competition so far. I was trying to do an American accent. I can't even do it. Oh, thanks.
American accent is almost as good as your Austin Powers. So
thanks for the report, Tim. Thanks for the report. So we're doing a paper trading competition, and it's been going quite well. And we've been having quite a good time. So have we announced someone has been kicked off? Someone's been fired.
No. We're about to do that. So, we just as a kind of a background, we started out with 6 members, 3 per team. And what we did in November was, that's the other update we're going to talk about. We're changing the rules in standard reality TV fashion. We're changing the goal for the next month. But last month we gave everyone 30,000 of equity, trading equity, thereby putting them over the PDT, allowing them to trade freely. Now, because of that, we had some kind of, I don't know what the best way to put it is, but kind of gaming of the system, maybe. And because of that, we're going to modify the rules because what we found was, a couple little things. Liz was scalping in and out like crazy, which is probably not feasible once you're paying commissions and, all this stuff. It's pretty unlikely you're going to be consistent trading that way. And then Kara kind of found a little bit of a glitch where when you're shorting some of these stocks, and we've actually, the team is working on fixing it, but with the paper trading module, because of the fact that you're taking a negative equity position, it was just, a glitch in that it would allow you to short an unlimited position size because of the fact the paper trading module was looking at it as you have 30,000 in trading buying power. You've got negative $250,000 position, you can make that trade. So now I will kind of give Kara a little bit of credit. I think she didn't realize that this was a glitch, but that's part of growing. She's a new trader. These are things we can figure out. But why don't you go ahead and announce, Stephen, the member is from your team. Give a little bit of background and let us know who got margin called. So.
Well, I mean, it's been a good month, and I've been working pretty closely with the team, and they are learning, they are developing, they are getting better. I mean, on my team, I've got Crazy Liz, the comedian. I've got Spiritual Jude, and I've got the fashion god Louis. And I was hoping Jude was going to get fired. I was really hoping, but Jude's not the one. Jude's not the one to go. And I was kind of wanting Liz to get fired. No, I'm just kidding. Of course, I love the team very much. And sadly, the person to go is Louis. Louis finished in last place. And I think he had a bit of a rough month. I know he was caught up. There's some kind of fires through California, and he was sick for some days. And
I kind of forgot about that. I forgot that's where he was. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he was putting the fires out, but I know that he might have been affected by them. I shouldn't make jokes about fires. A lot of people are devastated about that. But yeah, Louis, he worked hard and he was kind of getting it, and he was kind of involved in the higher price stocks, but unfortunately, it just didn't come through. I mean, my strategy for all three of them, I said, just don't trade at all, because if 95% of people lose, surely someone of your team will lose.
It's funny. It's funny you say that, but I always.
It's true.
One of the many. This is one of the steady trade recurring themes, but I always say I hate to agree with Steven, but I mean you're right. I mean, especially month one. I mean, I hate to say this, but if you're in a future steady trading paper trading competition, which we plan on doing more of these, especially month one, the best strategy might literally be to do nothing, because odds are, and I'm surprised no one did blow up, but odds are someone out of 6 will blow up, and you're actually pretty, it's actually not a bad strategy.
I mean, Kara should have blew up.
True. Very true. Very true.
Should have blew up, and I mean, and she has got to thank that she's still in the competition. She's still running well, but I mean, yeah, just to recap on my advice. I mean, for you, I guess you are going over the VWAP hold strategy. Mine was just support and resistance. I was like, guys, like when a stock hits a support level, it will bounce. Like it might not bounce significantly, but it's going to bounce. It's going to hold, and it'll either double bottom or it'll make a higher low. And if it doesn't, as long as you're buying right on them support levels, or you're shorting right on those resistance levels, and you cut when it breaks through, it's kind of difficult to lose. And this is the thing with paper trading. It's quite. I'm not going to say it's easy to be a profitable paper trader, but when you don't have the emotions, it's very easy to have those. To miss that trade, to have that entry, because you don't have the psychology of I want to make money today, and that's it's such a battle of the brain, right?
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. I mean, as much as I love paper trading as a tool especially for new traders, especially testing new strategies, I say it. If you've never shorted a stock, I beg you, please don't, especially like a low float stock. Please don't do it with real money. And if you do it with real money, do like 10 shares or something. But you're right. I mean, as amazing of a tool as paper trading is, in the end, it's not actual money. But that's where I kind of like this competition idea too, because, in theory, I would hope all 6 of these participants want to continue. They want to win. They want to be there next month. So while it's not the same skin in the game as having your hard-earned money, there is a little bit of skin in the game in that you want to, finish in the top, at the top and continue on to the next month. So,
no, but I mean, one thing I'm really pleased about out of the 2 remaining team members that I've got is how seriously they've kind of took it, though.
All 3 of them, yeah, have tons of respect. Yeah,
I was like surprised. I really didn't expect. Like when I'm getting, for example, like get videos of Jude and she's like super mad at herself when she's made a mistake, and she's super jubilant and excited when she feels like she's getting it. And she's like, I made $800. And I'm like, yeah, it's just paper money, but it means so much that the learning and the getting to the next level and the learning a new strategy. And because what I've come to find is that like in the two years that I've been learning, I've gone through hundreds of strategies. Do you know what I mean? I've gone through hundreds of different small price, high price, shorten, long in, support and resistance, the VWAP holds, dip buy-in, trying to catch the morning spikes. There's millions of strategies that I've gone through, and you can really never stop.
Yeah, and that's actually kind of part of, if you watched last week's episode where it was the update from my team. I had a busy month, but all months are busy. It's not like an excuse, but I really kind of took that, like you'd mentioned how committed everyone was. I kind of took the approach where I wanted to see if someone was just going to go MIA, not work hard, not take it seriously. And I was really impressed by, I gave pretty limited coaching to my team. If you watched last week, Kara, I still say her name wrong. Kara called me out on it, but I really wanted to see, especially the first month, are they committed? Are they going to show up? Am I wasting my time if I sit here and spend, this coaching time with them? And I was freaking really impressed by how seriously all three of them took it. I got an update from every single one of them every trading day in November.
Yeah, no, and I'm the same. And I was just like, I was kind of just pleased by the kind of givers respect as well. I'm like, because arguably they'll be like, Steven, you get drunk all of the time. You go MIA sometimes. You'll take these crazy $4,000 losses sometimes, and you'll wipe all your profits out. Why should I learn from you? And like, I was kind of waiting to get that question from someone, and I never really got it. Like, the guys like literally will put trust in the process, put trust in that I know what I'm doing. But I mean, that's the thing with trading. It's like maths, right? If you show someone something and then
it's kind of like math too,
Math. You call it math? Math
is the right way to say math.
but the component and concept of mathematics, right, is that it consists of lots of different stuff. There's algebra, there's plus, minus, subtractions. There's a lot of elements to mathematics that make maths. Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't actually. Anyway, that's the update on the paper trading competition. We're going to kind of keep working through these. Now, one thing we do want to ask you, the listener, and please comment below, whether you're on YouTube or if you're on, if you're on the blog, if you're on SteadyTrade.com, give us a suggestion. So we need a tagline. We need a "you're fired." We need a the producer mentioned the Rose moment in The Bachelorette or The Bachelor, whichever one it is. Maybe they do the Rose in both of them. But so please give us a tagline suggestion. We would love to use yours. Now, DJ, Chris, one of my team members, offered some suggestions. I'll give you a few to kind of give you an idea. Then we're going to move on to the meat of the episode and kind of talk about we're going to talk about the weed sector again because it's going nuts literally today. So some of the elimination lines we have are: your stock has dropped, the market has spoken, your value has crashed, make like a stock and split. I like that one. I also like this one: make like a dead cat and bounce. Your rally has ended. Your order has been canceled. I kind of like that one too. Hold your bag and head out the door. It's another nice one. You've been pumped and dumped from this competition. So
you have been used and abused.
It kind of sounds like that might be Steven's favorite. So again, if you like any of those, please comment on SteadyTrade or on YouTube, or if you have your own, we'd love to give you credit. So make those suggestions. And Steven, you got any ideas before we head into the weed stock discussion?
I was just thinking more of the humped and dumped.
Pumped and dumped is the winner.
Pumped and dumped.
That's great.
Kicked out in brawn knickers. I don't know. But no, I think this might make the front of the episode, because I do watch these back sometimes. I definitely watch the start of them to see the highlights. And I'm going to say the paper trading competition, the market has spoken, and Chris, you have been eliminated. That might be the front of the episode. It might be. But otherwise, then no, just the weed sector.
Why did you say Chris?
Oh, fuck, I was meant to say Louis. Where did I get Chris from?
What would you do without me, Steve?
You make fun of me for Kara and Kara.
Yeah.
Well, that's definitely not going to be the front of the episode.
It might be.
It probably will be now. in the paper trading SteadyTrade competition, the market has spoken, and Louis, you are
Make like a stock
eliminated.
and split. Your rally has ended. Make like a dead cat and bounce. Your order has been canceled. Your stock has dropped. You've been pumped and dumped from this competition.
Bye-bye, boys. Have fun storming the castle.
Yeah, now we can definitely move over to the wheat sector.
So what I want to talk about today from a trading perspective is, and this, I think that this episode, we're recording it the first week of December, but I think that this is setting up for, something that I've been looking at for over a year now in StocksToTrade Pro. It's affected my own trading, and I think is really one of the big trends going into 2019. So I want to talk about why, as well as, a lot of the tickers that you might want to be keeping an eye on. So what we're talking about is the weed sector, the cannabis sector, and which has had a long history of momentum. You go back to 2014, 2015, when I believe it was when Colorado and Washington State legalized, and we had that real short-lived run where the weed stocks just spiked, and then ultimately 99% of them crashed. And people had always kind of joked about that as, as a pump and dump or whatever. It's like Bitcoin today. But now I think in the last year, I've felt a sea shift in the markets, and especially we've seen it in the quote unquote real world. Back in 2015, it was these OTC pink sheet stocks. These days we have listed stocks, NASDAQ stocks, NYSE stocks. You've got, Michigan, what I think many of you know, I'm in Michigan. It's a conservative Midwestern state, and we've legalized recreational marijuana. I think this is a huge potential. I think it's going to be one of the biggest trading vehicles of 2019. And the biggest reason we bring it up is CRON. Actually, Jude, one of Steven's paper trading competition members, her and I have both talked about CRON many, many times. And today, CRON is spiking, just spiked like $4 a share in 5 minutes because Altria is looking at buying them. Altria is, don't quote me on this, I believe Altria is the old Philip Morris when they changed their name to somehow rebrand so that people didn't hate them, kind of like Blackwater renaming themselves Z. But a huge billion-dollar corporation like that looking to buy these weed stocks. Coca-Cola has been talking to ACB. All this real money is moving into the sector.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those things where, and I'd never really recommend this, but I just want to float it with you, and you're going to say maybe you can do that. But these weed stocks, the main ones, the likes of, I can't remember them off the top of my head now, but I've got a whole list.
CRON, CGC, TLRY, NBEV are some of them.
Yeah. Any of these stocks that are kind of at a support level if they've proven that they can be steady, like not overextended, maybe it's not the worst idea to buy 100 shares and just wait for the pop on them, because they're going to pop.
NB, N as in Nancy. I know I mix my N's and M's, but NBEV is a good example of that. That stock spiked all the way, I think, to the 8s a few months ago, and pulled all the way back, and it's been choppy, but it has consolidated at $4 for weeks now, and then today it spiked to 5+. That is exactly. Now again, I'm not.
Yeah, it's you kind of hoping it's a hope strategy.
Yeah, a little bit.
You're buying it at 4 and you're hoping that but you know how it is though. Like
But I would say this, if you're a discretionary trader, I know this podcast kind of appeals to the day traders and the swing traders, but if you're listening to the podcast, thank you. And if you're one of those people that's very busy and you like to make a few trades a year, I think buying a weed stock that is consolidated at support is probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, I don't think it's if you put
it's not as bad of an idea as some of the stories you've told us, the producer and I, off the air, Steven. So
Do you know, I mean,
I hope you don't mind me coming over and sitting down.
sometimes I'd like to tell the world. Sometimes I would.
I want to tear you apart.
But I just can't bear me mom finding out. Mom and dad will be like, what the fuck?
That's a good decision. Yeah. Keep it on the down low.
But I'm a big advocate of the LGBT community. But let's not talk about anything else. But yeah, I mean, if you buy a stock at 4 and you just put a sell order in for 6 and you leave it for the full year, chances are it's going to hit that 6, right?
Well, that's what's great about these stocks, and that's why I want to talk about them. Is they're all, I call it, and maybe I took this, a lot of the terms I co-opt from other people, but I call it a newsy stock. That's what's great about these weed stocks is they get a press, any sort of news, and they all move. Just like today, there's this rumor with CRON getting bought out. What happens? All of them spike. So I like them because, especially if you're dialed in like Steven and I am, and you're there every day, the tickers, you see them show up on your scan, and you're like, whoa, today's the day to trade this thing because they all move together.
Yeah, and the thing with these weed stocks is they've got such a history of putting 2 days together, and this is one of the things that I say to the SteadyTrade paper trading contestants when I'm talking to them, and they're buying these stocks, and I'm like, look at the daily chart and tell me where you can see that this ran 2 days in a row, and if it's and they're like it's never ran 2 days in a row. I'm like, right, okay, and then look for the daily chart with the big wicks. What do the big wicks mean? The wicks mean that they can't hold the highs. So if a stock can't hold its highs and it's proven it never can, and it can't run 2 days in a row, then why are you trying to buy a breakout on it, especially without good news? You know what I mean? But with these,
that's
it's basic analysis, but
that's what I call a one and done chart. Is exactly what you just explained. That one candle with a big wick, and then it basically closes, barely up on the day. It's like, okay, yes, you can trade those, but if you're under the PDT, if you're trying to maximize your opportunities, you got 2 or 3 day trades a week, you don't want to be buying those one and done charts, that scenario that Steven laid out.
And then you'll see the weed sector, and you'll see, right, there's a fundamental catalyst. Weed's getting legalized all over America. Companies like Coca-Cola and
the Farm Bill.
CRON.
Yep. So
they're looking at buying these companies because it's now getting legalized. Consumption's going to go up. There's an industry shift. And then you look at the daily chart, and you're like, wow, this cannot run 1 day, 2 days, but it can run 3, 4, 5, 6 days. With the fundamental shift, maybe it'll run to all-time highs. Some of these stocks can hit 52-week highs. Some of them are already hitting 52-week highs. Then you think, if I'm catching this on day 1, and it's had higher volume than it's ever had before, and the sector's hot, and it's a multi-month breakout, I mean, it's just, I am not a fan of going long, but if you catch one of these first day multi-week, multi-month breakouts, very high volume, the sector's hot, it's almost impossible not to buy.
And again, you obviously have to have a stop loss. You have to have a plan. You hear us say that over and over again. It doesn't mean, and Steven laid out a great scenario for a stock to trade right there. Doesn't mean every one of them is going to work. But listen to what he did there. He laid out all of these reasons. I think that so many traders fail because they get fooled by randomness. To quote one of my favorite authors, Nicholas Nassim Taleb. It's like they just trade random crap all day long, and they can't figure out why they're break even or why their count is just slowly grinding down. If you can align the stars as much as possible, and Steven did that, back it up and listen to what he said there. And these stocks happen. He laid out like half a dozen criteria, but if you can be patient and you can plan, those stocks come up multiple times a week, sometimes more. Those are the ones you want to look at. That's what maximizes your potential for success.
But it's all just basic it's just psychology, though. It's like if enough of the criteria are there, if it's popped up, held its highs all day, everyone the next day is thinking, well, what should I trade today? And if there's not much on the scanners, or even if there's stuff on the scanners, they're like, this is probably going to spike today because it's a multi-day runner. It's only on day one, so people want to buy it on day two. And then all of a sudden, and it's the same with gappers as well. If a stock's got a history of gapping up, people are waiting for that gap. The minute it starts to gap, everyone's going to chase it because they're like, it's got a history of gapping. It's gapping again, and then it seems too easy and straightforward to be true, but it just is.
Well, it's remember, so much of trading success is what you don't do. It's like, it's easy when you say easy. Yeah, well, I mean, it takes years of experience. You've got 2 years of experience now, but it's also just a lot of it is just waiting for these opportunities. And is the reason I'm so excited about the cannabis and the weed sector is, I mean, November was overall, from a trading perspective, it was almost as bad as August. So it's a lot of it, in November, a lot of success was just not trading and waiting for the one setup a week we get. But
yeah, and that is the unfortunate reality. Successful trading seems to be what you don't do rather than what you do. I think that's a really poignant point that you've just mentioned there, and that's the struggle. I mean, I think when they say things like the challenge is a year long or StocksToTrade Pro is a year long, I really believe that if you do the 8-hour days, the 10-hour days, I really do believe you can get it in a year. I really do. And then after that, it's totally the psychology of, do you have the discipline to not trade when the opportunity is not there? Do you have the discipline to not get emotionally involved and stick to a plan?
Or that discipline to wait for those half a dozen criteria to come down the pike. And if it doesn't happen for 3 weeks, it's annoying, it's aggravating, but you just keep waiting and waiting and waiting.
And that and this is why the likes of when you see Roland and Stephen Docks, like I remember when I was in Positano with Roland in Italy when we did the psych strip. And like being around Roland made me feel calm because he's the calmest, chilled out dude ever. He's the calmest person you've ever seen, right? He's just, how you doing, Roland? Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. You know what I mean? He's just
you're Roland, the person.
Yeah, I'm pretty good today. I'm having a good day. made 15 grand. But like, he's so calm, and you can tell he's just sitting at the market thinking, oh well, nothing on today. You know what I mean? Nothing to trade today, so I'm just gonna sit down, I'm gonna relax, I'm gonna have a day with the kids. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's but with me, like I'm like I want to feel good today. I want to feel good. If it's a quiet market, I'm like, why don't I just take a random gamble to feel alive inside? Do you know what I mean? And you can't teach this. These are personality traits.
Sure. And I think that's why you have to have that experience, because a lot of it is, in the end, it's recognizing your own psychology too. And I've seen you grow and evolve, and but you recognize it now. I mean, feel free to, refute me, but I'm guessing Stephen from, 18 months ago did not sense these emotions. Now, sure, we all make mistakes every day. It's part of trading, but I think at least now you recognize your psychology.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's been, I mean, the whole trading process, it's been one of the most introspective and oftentimes the most challenging thing I've probably ever gone through, and I'm still going through it. I mean, the only other thing that's been really difficult was a little bit public speaking when I'd have to go to pitches for advertising, and obviously learning to write professionally when I was learning to write in university. And you'd hit a lot of walls there, but nothing was quite as personal as trading. Like trading, you'll go through some of the most depressing times. You'll go through some of the most jubilant, unless you're Roland's like just lost 10 grand, whatever. He doesn't care. He's chilled. But yeah, I mean, you'll go through some depressing times, some happy times, but nothing has challenged me more to kind of really look at who I am and kind of question the ideals of who I am as a person. Like, why are you gambling like this? Why are you being reckless? Why are you taking these chances?
I want it.
you really look into your life. I mean, for you, I don't know. You seem like a chilled out entertainer as well. Are you pretty chilled out, or you're not that chilled out? You have your moments.
No, I actually have rage issues, but I
Really, you do not have rage issues. Do you have rage issues?
If you were in this office hours a day with me, yeah.
No, you're the nicest man in the world. You are the nicest man in the world.
When have I ever been nice to you? I didn't think I was ever nice to you. So
like sometimes when I don't show up because I'm drunk and stuff, like the producer's like, this is kind of not acceptable. Can we change this or can we change this? Like, I suppose so. You've always been the chilled out one. You do not have rage issues. Do you have rage issues?
Yeah, well, again, a lot of, and it's a good topic actually. A lot of.
Let's talk about it.
What you're talking about.
Don't get angry, but.
No. When I say rage issues, it's with myself. I'm a very, very self-critical. So when I make these mistakes, when I let the losses run, when I enter a crappy setup, the things I scream at myself, you would not want to hear. They would.
But it's like internal screaming.
Yeah.
You're not like.
So I want to jump in here because I think this is a place to share with you guys and with the listeners something that I saw a few weeks ago on iTunes. We have listeners that give us ratings and reviews. On October 23rd, somebody said they gave a 2-star review, guys, 2 out of 5, and said, listen to this week's podcast. Feel the ripping on Steven has gotten out of control. Totally turned me off at this point. And that's written by a guy named Viper Steve. Viper Steve thinks you've got issues, Tim. So just do with that what you will.
And that's, remember, going back to the retreat I went on about a month ago. That's something I've been working on. I've been trying to be more positive towards Steven. Yes. So.
No, but I mean, maybe since we're talking about feelings and stuff, it can be tough. Like when I've took a loss, I've literally bit me fingers to release the anger at myself. But and yeah, I mean, it sucks. But I don't know if everyone has this, but yeah, even though I missed the podcast last week, I was like, guys, I had a panic attack the other day. I'm like, I can't record today. I made up lies and then I told you after, but I was like, because I felt shitty. Like, and sometimes people do, and I guess it's okay. But I think an important thing to say is that, like, with you, I don't know with you, but with me and probably with you, like, a lot of the listeners will be like, these dudes are so happy and they've got it made, and wow, you talk to Tim Bone and you've met Tim Sykes and your life's a dream and stuff. And I'm like, nah, it's probably just the same as yours. I've just got some cool friends. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Because, I mean, again, like you said, I mean, yes, we do a trading podcast. Yes, I'm a trading mentor. I've done over 1,200 webinars the last couple of years. But at the end of the day, I'm still a human, and I'm still going to make mistakes. And I'm still going to, and trading is you against you. You're, at the end of the day, you're your own worst enemy in trading. And no one is perfect. All you can do is do what you've done. And we kind of got off topic, but I like this. Again, like that idea that with time and with experience, you can now recognize this. And that's why I think, again, you talk about the challenge or StocksToTrade Pro being a year long, or some people stay. I've had several StocksToTrade Pro members stay for 2 years and 3 years. It's like you have to get those reps, that experience into where you can recognize, okay, I'm falling into this trap again, and I will make this mistake again, but is this mistake now a $400 loss instead of a $4,000 loss? And then that is how you then level up and reach that consistent, area that we're all looking for.
Yeah, and I mean, I've got to the point where I've just accepted the fact that, well, I've learned enough to be profitable. I've just come to terms with the fact that it might take us 5 years. I'll never quit, but it just might, because my character and personality is so off the wall, and I've been so undisciplined all of my life, and I've got away with it. But I've got away with it, you know what I mean? Me mom loved us too much. She was ill when she was young, so I got spoiled. I got spoiled a lot by her. And then maybe it's learned to the fact that I've got away with being reckless and undisciplined, and I've had a flair for English. So I've always got by pretty easily. Maybe it's me personality is likable and funny and stupid and stuff like that. So I've always got away with stuff. And then trading has got me to the point where all of a sudden it's like, you're not getting away with this shit. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And it's like, I'm reversing 30 years of bad habits.
That's actually a great insight there, and I think that's where something we talk about all the time is that idea that everybody's journey is different. And sure, there's people that get it in a couple months, but those are extreme outliers, and everyone's different. Everyone's got their own journey, and some may take 5 years, and is that wrong? Is that bad to master a skill? If you become my latest kind of, I've always dabbled in carpentry, but my latest kind of hobby is cabinet building. And, I can build a nice cabinet, but am I a master cabinet builder? No. And will it take me 5 years, 10 years? I don't know. So.
No, but I mean, I was just laughing to just try and bring the rage out in you. I'm not disrespecting the cabinet building. I think it's cool. It's a manly skill. But
actually, perhaps I'll kind of divert a little bit, and I'll go and maybe I'll just build coffins, and I could build your coffin.
You'll have to ship it to Dubai, but
I'll deliver it.
Shoot it, kill it, bury it in the desert. But yeah,
I just went. Viper Steve's gonna get mad.
No, but I just want to tell people, like, there's nothing wrong with you if you don't get it in a couple of years. Like, it's not that you're not clever. It's not that you're dumb. It's not that trading's maybe not right for you. It's just that because you can be taught it in a year. It's just it's everyone's personality is different, and it can take time to not keep on making that mistake. It's weird. It's so weird though, because if you touch a stove and it's boiling hot, you're not touching the stove again, right? You'll learn that lesson first time round. But with trading, you'll not cut that loss a million times. So what's the difference between not touching the stove and cutting the loss? Because you learn both are wrong both times with equal amount of pain, arguably.
I think I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. I wish I did, but I hope to have Brett Steenbarger on someday. Recommend all of Brett's books. His specialty is trading psychology, and maybe he'll have an answer for us. But the best answer I can give you is I just think for whatever reason, you have to burn your hand multiple times before you get it. It's not like burning your hand for real.
Yeah, and I want to just quickly move back to the weed sector, but I
think so. Great insight, Stephen. I think let's kind of jump back to the weed sector, and then we'll kind of close out this episode. So
yeah, but I did just want to say to you, when you said that you had huge rage with yourself, I just wanted to say that in my eyes, you're a successful guy. You had a successful business. You're a profitable day trader. You've got a nice house, good kids, from what I can see. You might wrestle with your son every now and then, but it's fun. Wife, married. Your life seems pretty successful. I can't see for a million years why you ever got upset at yourself. If I took a $4,000 loss, I'd just be like, "Fuck it, I'm Tim Bourne. I'm cool. I've made it in life. I've won the game. You've won the game. You're the American dream, no? Are you not?
I don't know. I like to think I'm blessed. I've got a beautiful family. Again, I've had some successes. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my professional life. Even when I was starting the business, that was fun. It was interesting. But with what I do as StocksToTrade Pro and mentoring, growing, evolving traders, I am the happiest I've ever been in my professional career. But I don't know. I'm just wired to think that it's never good enough.
No, but it's the same for me. I mean, I lead a little team of copywriters and advertising. Got a nice place. I live in Dubai. Good paid job. I've made it way beyond any of my friends have made it. Like from the town that I grew up in the school I went up in, done better than just about everyone, despite not being the brightest, really, I would say. But then I'll still have days I'm like, stuff life. Do you know what I mean? Like stuff.
Well, and I think
why aren't I good enough?
Again, you're never done. You're never like, oh, okay, I got this as a stock trader. Oh, it's easy.
Or in life.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I think it attracts that kind of personality. And and I think that's the guys and gals that manage to stay around for the 5 years, the 7 years, the 10 years that it takes to get consistent. I think you have to have that it's not good enough attitude. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you've got to be these people that strive despite all of the adversity and the pain. They're doing it because they're constantly not unhappy, but constantly restless to achieve more. And why are you restless? Why do you want to achieve more? And the only real answer that I can think of is that you're not happy with the status quo of your life. Is that too far, or is it not too far?
I don't know. You're asking me questions. I don't have the answer.
Come on, let's have a deep discussion. Is your reason, and we'll definitely go on the wheat sector because I have got a point and then we'll close it out, but is your reason for constant perfection in the stock market a slight unhappiness with the status quo of where you are now? Or is it, or does just growth and development feel good and I'm just being depressed? I'm not sure.
It's a great question, but I just look at it like, to me, trading is a lot like physical fitness. It's like, okay, you could not work out, you could not take care of yourself, and you could exist.
Sure.
You might live to 100 years, but do you want to try and be that best version of yourself? And you know what? I have losing trades. I miss workouts just like everybody does, but it's like that idea that you want to be that best version of yourself you can be. And I think that's what drives me. Again, yeah,
I think just growth feels good.
Yeah.
Just development feels good. It just feels good to grow at stuff. We need to get Jordan Peterson on. But
there you go, exactly. Well, I mean, there's a good I mean, look at somebody like Joe Rogan. I mean, you can talk about, me having a nice house and sold the business. I'm down here and Joe Rogan's way up there. But who's more about constant improvement than Joe Rogan? I mean, you see, he's out running hills every day. But does he? And he works for the UFC. He does stand up. He does all these things. What drives him?
Yeah,
and the Rock. Look at the freaking Rock.
Yeah, the crazy thing about Joe Rogan was when he was doing his sober October thing, and he's like, I don't get anxiety anymore. He's like, my anxiety's gone. I'm like, Joe Rogan gets anxiety? He's like the coolest bro in the world. How does Joe Rogan get anxiety, right? But so it just shows you he probably has days where he's like, this shit. But one final question maybe to close out the weed sector is, why is it that the weed sector clicks with so many like new traders? Why generally when people first find success in the stock market, I often hear the weed sector linked, right? Everyone gets the weed sector first.
Like if you hear some guy that's like, man, I made, 20 grand my first month of trading, it's almost always followed by trading weed stocks. It is funny,
Or the words, I finally got trading, it's clicked. And I'm like, oh, what you trading? It's like, and I'm like, the weed sector's hot right now. It's kind of hard to mess them up though. I mean, for me, biggest mistake I ever made was trying to short them thinking it will come down. And they do come down, but can you hold on? Can you not get margin called? Can you not get bought in? And maybe the next time they come up, they will not come down.
But to answer your question, I just think it makes so much sense to people. It's like why, I talk about this a lot in pro where, get behind the idea, don't just trade random stuff. Really convince yourself that this is a good trade. What's the backstory? And I think one of the reasons you see them run over and over again is just everybody is like, we believe in the backstory. Everybody believes that weed stocks should be higher.
But I mean, and when you look at the backstory, I mean, I've never seen such a chart that is basically just a wave. Like, do you know how, like, obviously the sea has waves, and these weed sector tickers, they just have waves, right? They just go up and down and up and down, and they've done it like 5 times. So
well, and what we're seeing now is, so let's wrap up this episode. A lot of good. We kind of got off tangent, but I tell you, it was good. I enjoyed the psychology. It's been a while since we've kind of had that. I think the kind of last time we got into it was the live episode from Orlando, where we kind of got into this type of stuff. And I think it's so important. It's one thing to talk about charts and talk about fundamentals, but man, I don't think you ever. It's always got to be working on that psychological aspect of stuff.
I like these conversations. Sometimes I feel like you're a second dad, a little bit, but like a nasty one that rips on us. No, but I mean, it's the most important thing. I mean, this is why these $1 million traders and the forex companies have psychologists for when they get in bad slumps to try and pull them back out of it and stuff like that. Psychology, for me, it's the hardest part. Like, I see a lot of new traders, I see them learning. I just think you have so far to go. You've got so much more to learn and so much more. But it's like learning Chinese. I think the stock market, honestly, it's like learning to read a different language, and it's the Matrix almost the way it goes. But once you get it, it's super simple. And I would say, but it's just remembering it all the time.
Well, right. Then it's executing. Yeah. So in summary, again, great discussion, Stephen. I enjoyed this episode. So,
Thank you, sir.
if you can, if you're out there listening, again, if you're on YouTube, if you're on SteadyTrade, head over to SteadyTrade.com. We would love for you to hear your suggestions on our catchphrase for the next month when the next contestant in the SteadyTrade paper trading competition goes home.
You said it right.
And
You said it right.
definitely, I tell you, as much as we, we're not about tips or tickers here, but if you're new to trading and came across the podcast, definitely keep an eye on the weed sector. Especially these like cannabis drinks, we've seen them run, we've seen them consolidate, and I think really with the farm bill, it's a big agricultural funding bill in the U.S. There's supposed to be some loosening of regulations, and that's coming down the pike. I really think we're just getting started in this weed stock run, so keep an eye out for those for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, other than that, thank you to the listeners who listened. Thank you, Tim, for the conversation. I feel like this was a good one. Peace out and love life and live the dream. I don't have anything else to say.
Hi, this is Aaron, aka Double A Ron from New York City, and I like to go outside and find a stray dog, preferably an aggressive breed like a pit bull or a Rottweiler. Then I get real close, stare it down eye to eye until it starts to chase me. Then I run. That's right, I run while listening to Steven and Tim on the SteadyTrade podcast. You can register to win real actual prizes at their website, SteadyTrade.com. And if you really like what you hear, give the podcast a 5-star rating and write a glowing review on iTunes. I did, and this is how we say goodbye in New York City.